It appears as though, as of right now, we might have a little bit of, well, a lot of bit of a broken movement mechanic inside Black Ops Cold War. I do have confidence that it'll get fixed relatively quickly by Treyarch. They have a track record of fixing glitches like this in a pretty timely manner, but without further ado, let me go ahead, let me show you this tweet just so you guys can get an idea in terms of what it looks like and what it is. This comes from Doom Trent on Twitter. He said, "Who wants to learn the movement meta?" So as we go ahead and press play on this clip, you can see that essentially what he's doing is he's sliding, jumping, and sliding again. And this just allows him to essentially just slide across the entire map. I do think that this will be a fairly easy fix. I think this is something where you just put in a limit to how many times you can actually do that, and it will probably be taken care of. I have full confidence that Treyarch will get rid of this. They'll fix it. They'll put in a half. And by the way, this is the beta, right? The beta is only open for this weekend for PlayStation users, next weekend for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC users. It would shock me if this isn't even fixed by next week. I mean, it could be hot patched by the end of the weekend, but just to get some overall reaction from the community, we do have this from Parasite. This is a different clip. So this one's just a tiny bit different. It's only 6 seconds, so we'll let it play a little bit here. But essentially what's happening is this person that kills him, you see him slide across the door. Right here, they slid through the door, and then they backed up and slid backwards. Watch that again. It's the person right in front. He slides through, slides back, slides through, slides back. So the thing that this clip shows us is that you 1000%, you don't have to be going forward the entire time, right? You can be sliding forward, slide backwards, slide left, slide right, do it over and over again. There is absolutely no way that they would allow this to stay in the game. If this was to stay in the game, it would break a Call of Duty game unlike any other movement glitch or anything that we've seen before. Now, there is some stuff that went on with the community, some community discussion here amongst pros and coaches. So Drifter said, "Yep, that's going to need a nerf," in reply to that first video that we showed you. And there was some discussion here, right? So Brian Saint, head coach of the Minnesota Rockers, said, "The comments on this thread are making my night even worse." And essentially, if you look at that tweet from Drifter, there are a lot of people that actually want that movement glitch to stay in place because they're part of the zombie community. And imagine being able to do that in zombies. It would make playing zombies much easier. But in terms of the competitive scene, that's the thing with these games, right? You have the zombie community, you have just like the casual community, you have the competitive community, you have all these groups of people coming together. And underneath, we do get into a little bit of a discussion here. So Slasher and Parasite, as you might expect, come in here and says, Slasher says, "I'm so over movement heavy Call of Duty, it just ruins the game." Parasite says, "Guy gets around the corner, any other way for him to come back, or slide at him, then he slides back and we get into a slide fight." So this is basically just people sliding back and forth. Slasher goes on to say he hasn't even logged into the beta because he saw that clip and then just said, "You know what, I'm not even going to go for it." And then Parasite says he has been playing, he's experimenting with weapons and different stuff. But it seems like we know what's going on here, right? Just a little bit of a deeper dive into these conversations. This is from Aches that says, "Sliding is fine in COD if it's used for disengaging and maneuvering and finessing." And that would make sense, right? Say you're going to slide into a hard, or you're going to enter a hard point, you start getting shot from your side, so you slide to enter in the hard, right? I mean, it's just like maneuvering or playing tactically, stuff like that. But he goes on to say the fact it's being used to engage in every gunfight due to how good and fast and camera breaking it is, it will always be a broken mechanic. I don't know what the fix is, but there's got to be something. So I tend to agree with this. I'll tell you what I think the answer is in just a moment. But I agree that sliding in Call of Duty should not be a mechanic to enter a gunfight. It should be a mechanic to exit or to try to get behind cover, or to try to finesse and maybe like go behind a bar, pop up and kill, right? I mean, that's the way sliding should be used. But I feel as though as long as it's in a Call of Duty game, it's gonna be used improperly. Everybody's gonna try to break it. My solution to this, personally, I think if you just took sliding out and put dolphin diving in, it's over, right? Because as you're dolphin diving, you can't ADS, you can't really shoot. There's no reason to do it. For me, sliding just seems like how many developers, how many games in a row have they tried to fix it and been unsuccessful? Dolphin diving, it is what it is. I would just put dolphin diving in and forget about sliding. As this conversation continues, that's exactly what Slasher says. The fix is just to delete this and put a dive in. Cracked 18-year-olds are going to find a way to break it or snake around, which ruins the game. Ix goes on to say, the only alternative I can think of is you have to complete the entire slide, no breaking away. That would make people use it less and use it for evasive only. And I agree with this, right? I thought, so Tony Flame, one of the developers at Treyarch, did tweet a few weeks ago that they had already made changes to the slide mechanic. Now, those changes obviously weren't anywhere close to enough, but if you started your slide and you had to finish that slide, so finish the 1.5, 2 second long slide, however long it is, nobody would use it anymore, right? Wouldn't make sense because while you're in the middle of your slide, you can't ADS, you can't shoot back, you can't do anything. So there would be no point to do it any longer, especially to enter a gunfight. So that is another possible option. If you don't want to go the dolphin dive route, then just make it to where you can't cancel it early. As soon as you start to slide, it's there for 2 seconds. And if you go around a corner and you enter a gunfight and you can't ADS and shoot back, then it is what it is. There is a little bit more of a discussion here. Midnight from Minnesota goes on to say, I'm having a tough time remembering, but the slide that was in Ghost didn't seem like an abused mechanic at the time. Do you think that's because of how they made it or the community hadn't reached its final cracked form yet at the time? And I played Ghost a lot. I do want to read Hitch's response here. It says, I'm fairly positive you had to complete the slide in Ghost. You could drop shot out of it, though. I think canceling the slide is a majority of the problem. And I totally agree. I think the community is coming together, having a discussion, and coming up with an answer here that I completely agree with. So Ghost and Advanced Warfare are the two games that I played a lot of competitive in. That's when I went to MLG Columbus, went to different lands and played. And I'd agree that back in Ghost, I think if you could have slide canceled, I still think it would have been figured out. I just don't think that at that point in time, you could do that with the slide. And if you were going to drop shot or something, then you would have just drop shot it, right? You wouldn't slide and then go into a drop shot. So I just think that the mechanics were different. I just think that when it came to Modern Warfare, or there were even some games before this, Black Ops 4, right? There was just a broken mechanic and it still hasn't been fixed and people are still taking advantage of it. So what's the answer? I'm not really sure. They either take it out, add in a dolphin dive, or they go through and make it to where once you start your slide, you can't stop. I'm sure now, we're about a month away from launch still, probably about 3.5 weeks or so. I have a ton of confidence in Treyarch. I do think that they'll go through and they'll make the necessary changes here. Don't hold me to that because you never really know unless you have inside information, and I definitely don't. But in the comments down below, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're feeling. Do you think this is something that'll be fixed? What would your fix to this movement mechanic be? Thank you guys so much for all the support as of late. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like. It helps out the channel. With that, thank you guys so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.